Welcome to the Gavel, coming to you from Channels TV studios in Abuja. I'm Terry Ikumi. And what an eventful week it was at the National Assembly. Quite a lot happened. So we'll try to unpack as much as we can today. So let's begin with the President's loan request of 1.767 trillion naira in the new external borrowing plan for part financing of the 2024 budget. It was approved by both chambers within 48 hours. The President also forwarded the medium-term expenditure framework and fiscal strategy paper for 2025 to 2027 to the National Assembly. And in another letter to the lawmakers, President Tinubu sought approval for Social Investment Program Amendment Bill. Meanwhile, the Senate has invoked Section 157, subsection 1 of the 1999 Constitution to officially sack the Mr. Danladi Yakubu Umar as chairman of the Code of Conduct Tribunal for alleged misconduct. 84 senators, which constitutes two-thirds majority of the Senate, signed in favor of his removal, resolving to forward the resolution to President Bola Tinubu for further action. So let's take a look at these and more from the Senate this past week.
48 hours after federal lawmakers received a request from President Bola Tinubu for a $2.2 billion loan, the Committee on Local and Foreign Debts on the last day of plenary for the week had concluded its work on the request, and it was presented before the entire Senate.
It may be recalled that this Senate received a communication from Mr. President requesting for approval of a external borrowing amounting to 1.767 trillion naira, equivalent to $2.209 billion, as part of 2024 Operation Act to partially finance 7.179 trillion budget deficit in 2024. Mandate: the request was part of the Committee on Loans and Foreign Debt to review and also recommendations.
There was no dissenting voice in the chamber as the lawmakers voted in approval.
This should have been something that would have taken longer time. They show sacrifice, people show sacrifice for the interest of the country by working around the clock to make sure that you get everything done. And not only done, but properly done.
Those in favor of the report as submitted by the chairman, local and foreign debt, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against say nay, the ayes have it.
Similarly, in the House of Representatives, lawmakers were unanimous in their vote in favor of the loan request.
Those against should say nay, the ayes have it.
The latest loan, which is undoubtedly expected to raise the cost on debit servicing by the federal government, is currently pegged, according to the CBN, at over $3.5 billion. Meanwhile, during the week, the Senate leader in the motion invoked Section 157, subsection 1 of the 1999 Constitution as amended and called for the sack of the chairman of the Code of Conduct Tribunal.
Go to closed section meeting to discuss a important matter.
For this reason, the Senate dissolved into a closed-door session for over an hour.
The official conduct of Mr. Yakubu Danladi Umar, who is the chairman of the tribunal, has fallen short of the requisite standard of a public officer to conduct the affairs of such tribunal. Mr. President, very distinguished colleagues, both in the 9th Senate and in the ongoing 10th Senate, several petitions were written to the Senate regarding the conduct of the chairman of the Code of Conduct Tribunal, including his personal involvement in a public brawl resulting in the assault of a young Nigerian trader at the Banex Plaza in Abuja, in the Federal Capital Territory. It's on record that Mr. Danladi refused to attend subsequent sittings and public hearings of the Public Petitions Committee. that the invocation of the aforementioned constitutional provision in this circumstance seems to be the only way out to safeguard the sacred image of the Code of Conduct Tribunal.
84 of us agreed in support of this motion. I just want to put it on record. No one that did not support this motion. It's in that respect that I call on you to put the question.
This is the first time the Senate is invoking relevant sections of the Constitution to remove a statutory head of a federal agency from office.
Will the Senate now confirm the invocation and activation of the constitutional provision of Section 157, subsection 1, as enshrined in our 1999 Constitution as amended, removing the chairman of the Code of Conduct Tribunal from office as a result of acts of misconduct and acts unbecoming of the holder of such an office. Those in support of this motion say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
In another motion of urgent national importance, Senator Yahaya Abdullahi raised an alarm over the infiltration of the Lakurawa terrorist group into parts of Sokoto and Kebbi states.
Aware that a group of terrorists from neighboring Burkina Faso and Mali, known as Lakurawa, has infiltrated the country through the Nigeria-Niger border at Ilela, Tangaza, Silami local government areas of Sokoto state, and from there attacking communities in Augi and Ariwa local governments in Kebbi state. Senate recalls that this violent gang of terrorists had raided and dispossessed these communities prior to the large-scale invasion of Mera, a village in Augi local government, on November 8, 2024, killing more than 20 people and fleeing with their livestock amounting to hundreds of millions of naira. Senate is aware that Kebbi State government promptly responded by sending a delegation with relief materials to the affected villages and assistance to families of the deceased. The Senate is also aware that my humble self, the single Senator Muhammad Adamu Aleru of Kebbi Central Senatorial District, the single Senator Garu Musa Medoki of Kebbi South Senatorial District, along with some members of the House of Representatives from Kebbi State, have been to those areas to commiserate with the victims of the attack on behalf of the National Assembly. Senate is aware that if timely, adequate and decisive measures are not taken, this group can spread its foreign reign of terror to other parts of northern parts of the country and beyond.
I support all the prayers of this motion. We need to nip this in the bud. It's too serious for us to allow to take it lightly, because these people are well armed with sophisticated weapons, and I believe they even have some international connections. Therefore, there is a need for the government of Nigeria to take this matter very, very seriously. Otherwise, it may snowball, as did the banditry from Zamfara into virtually every part of northwestern Nigeria and several parts of north central.
Lawmakers also called for military presence in the affected areas.
This is a very serious matter because it touches on national security. And that's why I want your attention and indeed the attention of Nigerians. Mr. President, if you recall that banditry started in Zamfara state, and about 9 years ago, nobody thought that it would spread to neighboring states. But we didn't take immediate measures to arrest the situation. And gradually, it spread to neighboring states of Sokoto, Zamfara, Katsina, Kaduna, and even beyond, even Niger State.
From the red to the green chamber we go, and it was the battle of constitutional amendment bills. A bill to amend the Constitution and provide for diaspora voting scaled second reading in the House of Representatives, while a bill to alter the Constitution to create a single term of 6 years for the office of President and state governors suffered defeat. So let's dive into the Green Chamber and see how that went, as we also look at all the bills and motions as well as the hearing on the 4 tax reform bills currently before the National Assembly. Members of the House of Representatives resumed plenary after adjourning the previous day to join the Senate's valedictory session for late Senator Ifeanyi Ubah.
Honorable, please, can you stand
Without a
up?
debate, a constitution amendment bill which seeks to improve the country's electoral process by allowing Nigerians in diaspora to vote in elections in Nigeria quickly scaled second reading. Meanwhile, a constitution amendment bill for a single 6-term tenure for the president and state governors failed to scale second reading. The bill sponsored by Honorable Ikenga Ogochinyere also sought to provide that all elections be held on a single day. The House then adopted a motion on the need to investigate the activities of anti-corruption and transparency units in all MDAs in the country.
Aware that the unit is supposed to be watchdog or anti-corruption division service with the responsibilities of monitoring the activities of federal government, ministries, departments, and agencies, are reporting any matter that is regarded as corrupt practice to the ICPC for further actions. Worried that despite these circulars and efforts, corrupt practice still persists in most MDAs, and if not checked, corruption will continue forever. Mr. Speaker, my dear colleagues, the House resolved to mandate the Committee on Anti-Corruption to investigate the activities of Anti-Corruption Transparency Units, ACTU, in all ministries, departments, and agencies in the country, and report within the 4 weeks for the further legislative action.
In the meantime, the attention of the House then turned to motions and notice, one of which was on infrastructure development.
The current deplorable state of the roads spanning over 20 years since its construction in 1975 has resulted in economic loss and untold hardship for commuters in Akwa Ibom State and Cross River State. The House resolved to urge the Federal Ministry of Budgets and National Planning to ensure the inclusion of Odugbani-Itu Federal Highway construction in the 2025 budget estimates.
Away from the chamber, the Speaker of the House of Representatives was present at a hearing on 4 tax reform bills proposed by President Bola Tinubu. The tone of the event was set by the Deputy Speaker, closely followed by the Chairman of the Federal Inland Revenue Service.
It is crucial for these provisions to be articulated clearly, highlighting how they align with the overarching goal of engendering equity, driving economic growth, and ensuring that no section of society is left behind. This tax reform represents a shift towards a sustainable fiscal framework, including where effective taxation is a tool for creating opportunities, reducing inequalities, and enabling every citizen to thrive.
We are not a policy formulator. We only listen, and whatever the law that is passed down to us, we implement.
The 4 tax reform bills have caused a division among lawmakers, with some openly rejecting it, mainly for the provision that restricts revenue generated in a particular state to that state.
I think that the essence of all these bills is to enhance our revenue and, of course, to block leakages. So I will appreciate my colleagues to have open minds towards it. I will appreciate a situation where we are all grounded in it, clause by clause, so that we will speak to facts rather than sentiments.
We just said that this model is not fair to most states. The biggest beneficiaries are Lagos, Rivers. So let everybody benefit from their contribution. That's what we are proposing. Then, if you make calls in Kano, why is Lagos State getting 20% of that?
The Speaker of the House, in declaring the event open, emphasized the importance of taxes and the neutrality of the House on the 4 reform bills.
As representatives of the people, we must approach these reforms thoughtfully, understanding their potential implications for every segment of our society. Taxes should be fair, transparent, and justifiable. Let me be clear. The House has not taken any definitive position on these bills. Our role is to scrutinize them thoroughly, ensuring they align with the best interests of our constituents and the nation at large.
Now it's time for the breakdown with the Policy and Legal Advocacy Center, PLAC. Mr. Clement Wankwo reacts to the delay in the presentation of the 2025 budget and the time available to lawmakers to properly scrutinize it before passage.
I think that when you look at previous practice, the National Assembly would always receive the budget in good time, would pass it well before the end of the year, ready for implementation beginning January 1st of the year of the budget. And what we are seeing, we saw that in 2023, was that the budget was presented again a few weeks to the end of the year. It was passed even within the holiday season of last year, end of year holiday season, and signed into law by the President on January 1. The drawback with that was that it was rushed. Members did not see the contents of the budget, and we did actually have a senator raise that question, point out that the National Assembly members who passed the budget didn't see the contents of the budget, and the controversy arose as to what was passed. And then we saw, within the year, 2 supplementary budgets brought to the National Assembly. So as we speak, the country is operating 3 budgets. No one knows which ends when and what indeed even the contents of the budgets are. And then we are repeating this. So it tells me that maybe this is deliberately contrived to ensure that the budgeting process is obfuscated and not transparent, and then implementation is then an issue, and it raises great questions about transparency and accountability. So I feel disappointed. I think a lot of Nigerians are disappointed that we are repeating the same challenge of the 2023 preparations of the budget in 2024, and I don't think it bodes well for the economy or for the country. The National Assembly needs to be on the side of prudence and transparency in the management of the economy. Simply taking what the executive has brought as a boring plan and stamping an approval to it without due and proper scrutiny of it, again, goes to the question about management of the Nigerian economy. As we speak, we certainly do not have a full implementation of the 2024 budget. A lot of projects that were supposed to be funded under the 2024 budget have not been funded. Agencies complain that some of them have not received allocations for the budget year. And then we are borrowing under a new budget that hasn't even been seen. And the National Assembly has approved this without proper scrutiny. I think that we need to have our legislature become much more conscious of carrying out its oversight responsibilities of the executive so that the economic management process is understood and the executive is held to account for implementation of the national budget. If the president has delayed presenting his borrowing plan to the National Assembly until the last few weeks of the year, the National Assembly should scrutinize it even more, because maybe it's become a strategy to appear to rush bills just so that questions are not asked. And that's the reason we have a legislature. The National Assembly exists, and so will the states. The state as House of Assembly exists to ask questions, to get the public to ask questions, to get input from stakeholders. And when you continuously violate the bill process, you raise questions about legitimacy of those bills, and you raise questions about the seriousness with which the National Assembly takes its constitutional role of lawmaking, of oversight, and of representation. The National Assembly members do not represent themselves. They are not elected that their views are imposed on citizens. They are representing citizens. They need to hear from their constituents what their constituents think. They need to hear from stakeholders what stakeholders think before bills are passed. And if this is not the case, then it raises serious questions.
And on Constituency Focus this week, we'll speak with Honorable Jeremiah Umaru, representing Wamba, Kwanga, Nasarawa Egon Federal Constituency in the House of Representatives. Take a listen.
Based on our agenda for the people of Kwanga, Wamba, Nasarawa Egon, we're able to achieve a milestone so far. So far, we've been able to distribute 1,000 fertilizers to our farmers because, and of course, 2,000 NASS spray machines. The idea is to give to our farmers because most of our people are into agriculture, so it's just to support them in their farming activities. And of course, after that, we had training of youth. We trained over 250 youths within the federal constituency on the modern agricultural input and, of course, agricultural equipment such as pumping machine, fertilizers, and other agricultural input were distributed to those young people back home. And along the line, we distributed transformers, 6 transformers in each of the local government. And I am bold to say that we have connected most of these communities to the national grid, and they have electricity. We have distributed solar street lights to communities across the federal constituency. We have also distributed vehicles. You know, most of the people that supported us, by the grace of God, we got opportunity, and we distributed cars over almost 30 cars to the young people to say thank you to them, and also to help them in their businesses. There are some of them, their businesses require vehicle mobility, to help them, to assist them so that they can be able to stand on their own. We have done motion at the floor, push motion at the floor for the repairs and fixing of the bridge, the collapsed bridge in Kwanga that linked to Plateau State. And I'm bold to say that that bridge immediately we moved the motion and was approved by the House. Immediately the Federal Minister of Works moved into action, and it was done. And aside the bridge, the road linking Wamba and Bokos in Plateau State, after moving the motion, it was a joint motion that was done by myself, Honorable Lalu and Honorable Leko. Immediately the contractor moved to site, and I'm bold to say that the work is going on, and the contractor is on site. And aside that, we have also moved other motions and bills, you know, that have direct impact on our people. One of the bills, in all, we have moved 10 bills. We have presented 10 bills for first reading. One of the bill, skills, second reading, the one for the establishment of Agricultural Energy Technical Institute in Nasarawa Egon. The whole idea is to give our farmers who are into big-time farming a platform to expand in their businesses. And of course, we know about the renewable energy. So the idea is to be able to have an institute that will be able to, provide technical support for that aspect. We also engage in scholarship for our young ones who are in the universities, in the higher institutions. So far we've given up to 150 of our young people scholarship of 50,000. Yes, it's small, but for me, I feel it's a way of supporting them. Some of these students do not have anybody to help them. So we decided to give them this support to help them in their school and their studies. So far, about 150 of our young people got 50,000 naira each from us as intervention and scholarship. Of course, we had our young ones who were called to the Nigerian Law School, that went to the Nigerian Law School, also, we supported them in the law school. Each of them would give 100,000 just to cushion and to reduce the impact and the effect of the fees in the law school. And that we're still doing. We're compiling for the second batch of the people that will benefit from the constituency.
Well, that's all the time we have on The Gavel this week. Thank you for watching. Remember to send feedback to The Gavel at channelstv.com. I'm Terry Ikumi. Goodbye.